Welcome to another exciting episode of Stocks to Watch, where we bring you insights from the leaders of the most promising companies in the market. Today, we're diving into the world of precious metals with Massivo Silver Corp. The Canadian junior mining exploration company has a keen focus on silver and gold and strategically advancing its exploration projects in the mineral-rich regions of Nevada and Mexico. Joining us today is David Coburn, CEO and Director of Massivo Silver Corp. Under his leadership, Massivo is making significant strides with their state-of-the-art mill at the El Colomo property, which processes up to 300 tons of ore per day. Massivo is trading on the TSXV as MASS and the OTC as GNYPF. David, it is great to have you with us today.
Ashley, thank you. Very excited to be here with you and your team.
Yes, so let's dive right in. Massivo Gold is a rising star in the exploration of silver, gold, and copper. You founded the company and have been the CEO since the beginning. So what really inspired you to begin this journey?
Well, my background was in plastics and chemicals. So my core competencies were in plastics and chemicals, and had a project brought to me. I am a Canadian, and most people think that Canadians are we know our mining pretty good. Mm-hmm. So had some interesting projects come to me and looked at them and vetted them with some people much more smarter than I am from a geology standpoint, and looked at the projects, and the projects were very strong and very financeable. You can have good projects these days, but if they're not financeable, it doesn't matter. So vetted the projects with some real strong geologists and some real strong investment bankers and some of the smartest guys in precious metals in the world. And Eric Sprott and Ernesto Echevarria, and they liked what we're doing and have both invested in the company. So it was a good start for me with some strong projects.
Yeah, so Canada, you're a Canadian, as you said. So let's talk about Nevada and Mexico in particular. What was so attractive about those locations that you now currently operate in?
Well, I'm going to focus on Nevada right now. I'm going to focus on the Boston mine. This project was brought to me a couple of years ago from one of my investors out of Toronto, and it was a pre-World War II producing mine, and their grades there were spectacular. So what I learned from one of my investors, Eric Sprott, was that he liked pre-World War II production. And the reason being, I got educated on this. When the war came around, everybody stopped mining in the U.S. They all went to war. So if you can find a project that stopped because of the war and not because they ran out of ore, it has a high chance, much higher chance of being a successful project. So this is the project that we're focusing on, and we just put out a news release yesterday that we're starting to drill our third hole there. We're going to drill 8 holes in total, and we're real excited. We think we'll have mineralization in every hole, and that's the big thing for me to say right now. But per everybody on the site and per our geos and per everybody looking at the mineralization on the drill core, we're doing pretty good on the first 3 holes. So we expect big things to come from the Boston mine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is fascinating. Sort of the history lesson. Everybody went to the war, and then they just left it there, and to be unexplored. But it's almost like a diamond in the rough because nobody was really focused on that area because they were obviously focused on saving the country, right? So, I mean,
you're 100% correct. And there are some reports out there, and I did a little digging myself from Guggenheim and JP Morgan way back then. We're really investing out west into gold, copper, silver. And this is one of the projects that they really liked. And there's some good write-ups on it from them and from their geos that they hired. And it just, per the war, everything kind of got lost. And this has been in a family trust for many, many years. And again, as I said earlier, was brought to my attention by one of my big investors out of Toronto. So very interesting on that. I'll just touch one more thing. The people that we bought it from, they wanted the large majority of the compensation in shares versus cash. And what that means is that they're very confident that there's something right here where we're drilling. So they're betting on the upside with the shares versus cash, and that's always a real strong sign.
Yeah, I was going to say very indicative of what they believe is to come. Speaking of gold, silver, and copper, as you mentioned, can you talk a little bit about the exploration of the project and really kind of break down what you've found so far?
So what we've found so far, we only have results from one hole right now, and we just finished the second hole. And what happened on the second hole is typically what happens in drilling, you have a target depth that your geologists tell you you're going to drill to, for example, 120 meters. And when you drill to 120 meters, you have to make a decision whether to continue to drill or stop, because that's the target depth per the drilling strategy. And what's happened with us on the second hole is we hit target depth, and we were still in mineralization. So my driller pulls my QP, my qualified person geo over and says, "Hey, we're still in mineralization. What should we do?" Well, the geo makes a call. He goes, "Well, we got to keep drilling because that's why we're here. We're here to drill for mineralization." So the geo calls me and he says, "Hey, I'm going to make a recommendation that we keep drilling. We're in mineralization." So I give the thumbs up on that. And what they typically do, they typically drill for another 30 to 50 feet. Which we did first round. Geo came back and said, "We're still in mineralization. Do you want to continue?" I said, "Of course we're going to continue. That's what we're here for. That's what our investors invested in our company. They want us to drill." So we drilled again, second extension. We're still in mineralization. So we continue to drill. So we did that 3 times before we shut that particular hole down and moved to hole number 3. So we just started hole number 3 yesterday. So we'll continue to go through this process with all 8 holes. And technically, this is called a gold copper skarn. You've got epithermal vein systems, you've got different types of geology systems. This is a skarn system. And to hit in your first 2 holes, is pretty damn good. And we're quite confident we're going to hit in all 8 holes. So we could have a big deal here. We're already in the process of designing a phase 2 drill program after only drilling 2 holes with only assays on 1. So we're excited right now.
Yeah, as you should be. Love the story about the determination and the fact of your commitment to the shareholders. Really important there. Let's talk about, the projected costs of your exploration activities and whether you believe you have sufficient liquidity to cover them.
Yeah, we 100% do. We just finished $1 million raise, and the only reason we only raised $1 million, we could have raised more, was to keep the dilution down, keep the number of shares down, and just get this phase 1 drill program completed to prove out what we all think is there pre-World War II. So our geos did a lot of exploration on the property before designing the drill program. And we put the numbers together, we crunched the numbers, and we determined that $1 million Canadian dollars would be sufficient to drill 6 to 8 holes. And that's what we're working on. And typically what happens in this industry is, assuming you're successful on the phase 1 drill program, which we will be, then you'll go out and raise money at a much higher price. So that's how these things start to take toll. We've done no investor relations or no marketing on this project until now. So we're just getting the word out there right now that we think we have a tiger by the tail here.
I really like that. Tiger by the tail. Fantastic. David, in 3 short statements, why now? Why now is the right time to invest in Masivo?
Well, I think as what you're seeing from a macro standpoint, what's happening in the economy right now, what's happening with precious metals taking off, continuing to take off, precious metals I think in most situations are going to be a pretty good bet.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and I'm very excited to follow your journey as far as what happens in that third hole that you were explaining there in Nevada. David Coburn, CEO and Director of Masivo Silver Corp. Thank you so much for joining us here on Global One Media's Stocks to Watch, and best of luck to you. We'll see you soon, David.
Thanks, Ashley. Appreciate your time. Bye-bye.